all of you for this Srimad Bhagavatam session. And today is 19th of April 2025. So it's very auspicious to always hear Srimad Bhagavatam. So today we'll be discussing from 4th Canto, 17th chapter, and the second half. There are 36 verses in this chapter. So from 19 to 36. So we'll start. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhirayet Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So we have to take 18 verses, right? So what we can do is I'll just read one of those. This is a chapter. It is known as Maharaja Prithu becomes angry at the earth. We will take just 29th verse, right, and then we'll discuss whatever is possible within the time available. Dhurovacha Nama Parasmai Purushaya Mayaya Vinyastanana Tanave Gunatmane Namaswarupānubhavena Nirdutha Dravya Kriyakaraka Vibramormaye. See, the translation is like this. The planet Earth spoke. It is speaking to Maharaj Prithu. My dear Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, you are transcendental in your position, and by your material energy, you have expanded yourself in various forms and species of life through the interaction of the three modes of material nature. Unlike some other masters, you always remain in your transcendental position and are not affected by the material creation, which is subject to different material interactions. Consequently, you are not bewildered by material activities. Purport by Divine Shirpapa Ki Jai. It's a very beautiful purport. Long, but still it is worth reading. Please hear very carefully. After King Prithu gave his royal command, the planet Earth in the shape of a cow could understand the king was a directly empowered incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Consequently, the king knew everything, past, present, and future. Thus, there was no possibility of the earth cheating him. The earth was accused of hiding the seeds of all herbs and grains, and therefore she is preparing to explain how the seeds of these herbs and grains can be again exposed. The earth knew that the king was very angry with her, and she realized that unless she pacified his anger, there was no possibility of placing a positive program before him. Therefore, in the beginning of her speech, she very humbly presents herself as a part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of God's body. She submits that the various bodily forms manifest in the physical world are but different parts and parcels of the Supreme Gigantic body. It is said that the lower planetary systems are parts and parcels of the legs of the Lord, whereas the upper planetary systems are parts and parcels of the Lord's head. The Lord creates this material world by his external energy, but this external energy is, in one sense, not different from him. Yet at the same time, the Lord is not directly manifest in the external energy, but is always situated in the spiritual energy. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 9.10, Maya Dakshena Prakritihi, material nature is working under the direction of the Lord. Therefore, the Lord is not unattached to the external energy, and he is addressed in these words as Guna Atma, the source of all the three modes of material nature. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 13.15, Nirgunam Guna Bhoktracha. Although the Lord is not attached to the external energy, he is nonetheless a master of it. The philosophy of Lord Chaitanya, upholding that the Lord is simultaneously one with and different from his creation, Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva, is very easily understandable in this connection. The planet Earth explains that although the Lord is attached to the external energy, he is nirdhuta, is completely free from the activities of the external energy. The Lord is always situated in his internal energy. Therefore, In this verse, it is stated, Swarupa Anubhavena. The Lord remains completely in his internal potency and yet has full knowledge of the external energy as well as the internal energy. Just as his devotee remains always in a transcendental position, keeping himself in the service of the Lord without becoming attached to the material body. Srila Rupa Goswami says that the devotee who is always engaged in the devotional service of the Lord is always liberated, regardless of his material situation. If it is possible for a devotee to remain transcendental, it is certainly possible for the Supreme Personality of Godhead to remain in his internal potency without being attached to the external potency. There should be no difficulty in understanding this situation. Just as a devotee is never bewildered by his material body, the Lord is never bewildered by the external energy of this material world. A devotee is not hampered by the material body, although he is situated in a physical body that runs according to so many material conditions. For example, there are 5 kinds of air functioning within the body, and there are so many organs, the hands, legs, tongue, genitals, rectum, etc., all working differently. The spirit soul, the living entity who is in full knowledge of his position, is always engaged in chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and is not concerned with the bodily functions. Although the Lord is connected with the middle world, he is always situated in his spiritual energy and is always unattached to the functions of the middle world. As far as the middle body is concerned, there are 6 waves of symptomatic material conditions: hunger, thirst, lamentation, bewilderment, old age, and death. The liberated soul is never concerned with these 6 physical interactions. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, being the all-powerful master of all energies, has some connection with the external energy, but is always free from the interactions of the external energy in the material world. Jai Srila Prabhupada Transcendental Purport Ki Jai. Om Gyantamara Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmritamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitamena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamahyam Dadati Subhadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Tapatakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagarajatam Sahagana Raghunatamitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Saganalita Shri Vishaka Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanjan Gaurangi Radhe Vaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpata Rubhescha Kripa Sindhu Bhaye Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yanta Pravishya Mamavacham Mam Prasuptam, Sanjeevayati Akila Shakti Dharasvadamna, Anyam Chahasta Charana Shravanato Prananamo Bhagavate, Vushayabhyam, Mugam Karati Vachana Pankam Yatharvit Patam, Most of the Vishta, Mahashka Samantamani. जगन्नाथ बलदेव माई की जय, नरसिंह भगवान की जय, पंचतत्व की षड गोस्वामी की जय, गुरु परंपरा की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। So Hare Krishna, Prabhu's Matajis, welcome all of you and thank you very much for joining and keeping the appointment with Krishna today to hear from this wonderful chapter. A lot of lessons to be learned. See, in this chapter, which is titled Maharaj Prithu becomes angry at the earth. See, if verse number 3, 4, and 5, no? Now, Vidur Maharaj is asking from sage Maitreya. See, a lot of questions he's asking. He's asking that Mother Earth can appear in different shapes. So why did she take the shape of a cow, right? And she says the surface of the earth is low and high in other places. So how did King Prithu level the surface of the earth? And why did the King Indra steal the horse meant for sacrifice? So many questions he was asking. So Maitreya Muni is giving the answer, and we are hearing this wonderful episode in this chapter. How the cow, no? I mean, the Mother Earth took the shape of a cow, and why she took the shape, and we will see. See, in verse number 4, 7, 6, and 7, it says, Prithu Maharaj was a powerful incarnation of Lord Krishna's potencies. So, any narration concerning his activities, no, is surely very pleasing to hear, and it produces all good fortune. So, hearing this katha itself is a great fortune. He says, I am always your devotee, and as a devotee of the Lord, who is known as Adokshija. So Vidura Maharaj is telling, please therefore narrate all the stories of King Prithu, who in the form of the son of King Vena milked the cow-shaped earth. And in the 8th verse, now Suta Goswami is telling, right, when Vidura became inspired to hear the activities of Lord Krishna in the various incarnations, now Maitreya Muni also became inspired. He was very pleased with Vidura and began to praise him. See, the talk of Krishna Katha or topics about Lord Krishna or his incarnations is spiritually so inspiring that the reciter and the hearer, they are never exhausted. That's what Prabhu is telling in this verse, that is the nature of the spiritual talks. See, we have actually seen that one can never become satiated by the hearing the conversations between Vidura and Maitreya. Both of them are devotees. And the more Vidura inquires, the more Maitreya is encouraged to speak. As Prabhupada says, a symptom of spiritual talks is that no one feels tired. Very nice point. A symptom of spiritual talk is that no one feels tired. Otherwise, the mundane, you become tired, right? So upon hearing the question of Vidura, Maitreya Muni did not feel disgusted, but rather feel encouraged to speak, right? And resulting in great length, he wanted to speak. Now in the 14th verse, 4, 7, 14, the purport, it says, why the earth took the form of a cow. Just as a mother produces various children, both male and female, the womb of Mother Earth, produces all kinds of living entities in various shapes. So it is possible for Mother Earth to take on innumerable shapes. So at this time, in order to avoid the wrath of King Prithu, he was angry, right? She took the shape of a cow. Now, since a cow is never to be killed, Mother Earth thought it is wise, to take the shape of a cow in order to avoid King Prithu's arrows. To King Prithu, but he was the Supreme Personality, right? He could understand this fact. Therefore, he did not stop chasing the cow-shaped earth. See, in the 15th verse, he's saying, seeing this, Maharaj Prithu became very angry because she took the cow-shaped earth and his eyes became as red as the early morning sun. So, placing an arrow on his bow, he chased the cow-shaped earth wherever she would run. The cow-shaped earth ran here and there in outer space between the heavenly planets and the earth. And wherever she ran, King Prithu chased her with his bow and arrows. Now, just as a man cannot escape the cruel hands of death, the cow-shaped earth could not escape the hands of the son of Vena. Son of Vena is King Prithu. So at length, the earth, fearful, her heart aggrieved, she turned back in helplessness. Because he was chasing all around. So now she stopped and chased. So now she is addressing this 18th verse. 1 minute. So from verse number 18, she started addressing King Prithu. And opulent King Prithu has an aura of religious principles and shelter of the surrendered. She said, please save me. You are the protector of all living entities. Now you are situated as the king of this planet. See, in the purport, Prabhupada says the cow-shaped earth, addressed King Prithu as Dharmagya, which refers to one who knows the principles of religion. The principles of religion dictate that a woman, a cow, a child, a brahmana, and an old man must be given all protection by the king or anyone else. Consequently, Mother Earth took the shape of a cow. She was also a woman. Thus, she appealed to the king as one who knows the principles of religion. Religious principles also dictate that one is not to be killed if he surrenders. So she reminded King Prithu that not only was he an incarnation of God, but he was situated as the king of the earth as well. Therefore, his duty was to excuse her. So from verse number 19, 20 and 21, right, we can see the cow-shaped earth continued to appeal to the king. I am very poor and have not committed any sinful activities. I do not know why you want to kill me. Since you are supposed to be the knower of all religious principles, why are you so envious of me and why are you so anxious to kill a woman? Prabhupada says in the purport, the earth appealed to the king in two ways. A king who knows religious principles cannot kill anyone who has not committed sinful activities. Apart from this, a woman is not to be killed. even if she does commit some sinful activities. Now, since the earth was innocent and was also a woman, the king should not kill her. In the 20th verse, he says, even if a woman does commit some sinful activity, no one should place his hand upon her. What to speak of you, dear king, who are so merciful? You are a protector and you are affectionate. You are affectionate to the poor. The 21st, so now the cow-shaped earth, no, it should continue to tell, my dear king, I am just like a strong boat, and all the paraphernalia of the world is standing upon me. If you break me into pieces, how can you protect yourself and your subjects from drowning? Purport, Prabhupada says, beneath the entire planetary system is a Garbha water. Lord Vishnu lies on this Garbha water, and from his abdomen, a lotus stem grows. And all the planets within the universe are floating in the air, being supported by this lotus stem. If a planet is destroyed, it must fall into the water of Garbha. So the earth, therefore, it was warning King Prithu that he could gain nothing by destroying her. Indeed, how would he protect himself and his citizens from drowning in the Garbha water? In other words, outer space may be compared to an ocean of air, and each and every planet is floating on it just as a boat or island floats on the ocean. Sometimes planets are called dvipa or islands, and sometimes they are called boats. Thus, the cosmic manifestation is partially explained in this reference by the cow-shaped earth. See, in 1070-44, Narada Muni is saying to the Lord, my dear Lord, you are the symbol of everything auspicious. Your transcendental name and fame is spread like a canopy all over the universe, including the higher, middle, and lower planetary systems. See, the transcendental water, no? Because in this, we just saw the Garbha water, right? Distilling, right? But actually, see, the transcendental water that washes your lotus feet is known in the higher planetary systems as the Mandakini river. In the lower planetary system as the Bhogavati. And in this earthly planetary system as the Ganges. So this sacred transcendental water flows throughout the entire universe, purifying wherever it goes. See, in the 526.5 purport, Prabhupada says, below our planetary system are 7 lower planetary systems, the lowest of which is called Patal Loka. Now, beneath Patal Loka are the other planets known as Narakoloka, right? Or the hellish planets. And at the bottom of the universe lies the Garbhodaka ocean. And Prabhupada says that, therefore, the hellish planets lie between Patal Loka and the Garbhodaka ocean. So now, from verse number 22 to 25, now King Prithu starts replying. He said, Prituru Vacha. So he replied to the earthly planet, my dear earth, you have disobeyed my orders and the rulings. In the form of a demigod, you accepted your share of the yajnas we performed. But in return, you have not produced sufficient grains. For this reason, I must kill you. The purport Prabhupada says, the cow-shaped earthly planet submitted that she not only was a woman, but was innocent and sinless as well. Thus, she argued that she should not be killed. Besides, she pointed out that being perfectly religious-minded, the king could not violate the religious principles that forbade killing a woman. So in reply, now Maharaj Prithu informed her that first of all, she had disobeyed his orders. This was her first sinful activity, disobeyed. Secondly, he accused her of taking her share of yajnas, sacrifices, but not producing sufficient food grains in return. That's why he wanted to kill her. So in the 23rd, is again, Maharaj Prithu is telling, although you are eating green grass every day, you are not filling your milk bag, so we can utilize your milk. Since you are willfully committing offenses, it cannot be said that you are not punishable due to your assuming the form of a cow. See, a cow eats green grasses in the pasture and fills her milk bag with sufficient milk so that the cow herdsman can milk her. Yajnas, sacrifices are performed to produce sufficient clouds that will pour water over the earth. The word payaha can refer both to milk and to water. As one of the demigods, see, he's telling to the earth, as one of the demigods, the earthly planet was taking her share in the yajnas. That is, she was eating green grass. But in return, she was not producing sufficient food grains. That is, she was not filling her milk bag. So Prithu Maharaj was therefore justified in threatening to punish her for her offense. In the 24th, he says, now he is telling to the Mother Earth, you have so lost your intelligence that despite my orders, you do not deliver the seeds of herbs and grains formerly created by Brahma and now hidden within yourself. See, while creating all the planets in the universe, Lord Brahma also created the seeds of various grains, herbs, plants, and trees. So when sufficient water falls from the clouds, the seeds fructify and produce fruits, grains, vegetables, etc. So by his example, Purtu Maharaj indicates that whenever there is a scarcity in food production, the head of the government should take steps to see why production is being held up and what should be done to rectify the situation. So now with the help of my arrows, I shall cut you into pieces with your flesh and satisfy the hunger-stricken citizens who are now crying for want of grains. Thus I shall satisfy the crying citizens of my kingdom. See, Bhagavad Gita recommends that we perform yajna, sacrifices. See, by the performance of yajna, no, what happens? Sufficient clouds gather in the sky. And when there are sufficient clouds, there is also sufficient rainfall. So in this way, what happens? Agricultural matters are taken care of. When there is sufficient grain production, the general population, no, they eat the grains, and animals like cows, goats, and other domestic animals eat the grasses and grains also. So according to this arrangement, human beings should perform sacrifices recommended in the Shastras. And if they do so, there will no longer be food scarcity. And in Kali Yuga, the only sacrifice recommended is Sankirtan Yajna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So see the purport of this 25 purpose. Here we find some indication of how the government can arrange for eating of cow flesh. It is here indicated that in a rare circumstance, when there is no supply of grains, government may sanction the eating of meat. However, when there is sufficient food, government should not allow the eating of cow's flesh just to satisfy the fastidious tongue. In other words, in rare circumstances, when people are suffering for want of grains, meat eating or flesh eating can be allowed, but not otherwise. So the maintenance of slaughterhouses for the satisfaction of the tongue and the killing of animals unnecessarily should never be sanctioned by a government. As described in the previous verse, cows and other animals should be given sufficient grass to eat. If despite a sufficient supply of grass, a cow does not supply milk, and if there is an acute shortage of food, the dried up cow may be utilized to feed the hungry masses of people. According to the law of necessity, first of all, human society must try to produce food grains and vegetables. Very important. See, according to the law of necessity, first of all, human society must try to produce food grains and vegetables. But if they fail in this, they can indulge in flesh eating. Otherwise, not. As human society is presently structured, there is sufficient production of grains all over the world. Therefore, the opening of slaughterhouses cannot be supported. In some nations, there is so much surplus grain that sometimes extra grain is thrown into the sea. And sometimes the government forbids further production of grains. Prabhupada says the conclusion is that the earth produces sufficient grain to feed the entire population. But the distribution of these grains is restricted due to trade regulations and a desire for profit. Consequently, in some places, there is scarcity of grain and others, profuse production. If there were one government on the surface of the earth to handle the distribution of grain, there will be no question of scarcity, no necessity to open slaughterhouses, and no need to present false theories about overpopulation. So very powerful point, no? Very beautifully given by Prabhupada. See in the 26th verse, again, it says, any cruel person, be a man, woman, or important eunuch, who is only interested in his personal maintenance and has no compassion for other living entities, may be killed by the king. Such killing can never be considered actual killing. The purport Prabhupada is telling the planet Earth is actually a woman in her constitutional form. And as such, she needs to be protected by the king. Now, Purtu Maharaj argues, however, that if a citizen within the state, be a man, woman, or eunuch, is not compassionate upon his fellow men, he or she may be killed by the king. And such killing is never to be considered actual killing. as far as the field of spiritual activities is concerned, when a devotee is self-satisfied and does not preach the glories of Krishna, he is not considered a first-class devotee. A devotee who tries to preach, who has compassion upon innocent persons who have no knowledge of Krishna, is a superior devotee. In his prayer to the Lord, Prahlad Maharaj said that he was not personally interested in liberation from this material world. Rather, he did not wish to be liberated from this material condition until all the fallen souls were delivered. Even in the material field, if a person is not interested in others' welfare, he should be considered to be condemned by the personality of Godhead or his incarnation like Prabhu Maharaj. See, Prahlad Maharaj, he rendered the best service to his father, Hiranyakashipu. How? By having killed him by Lord Narasimhadeva. See, superficially it appeared that Prahlad Maharaj did not help his father. But this was not the case. See, in the Shastras it is said that if a person, even though a demon, is killed by God, he is immediately liberated. So Prahlad Maharaj was thinking, my father is so sinful, so much opposed to God consciousness, that he might not be liberated. He was thinking like that. After Lord Narasimha killed Hiranyakashipu, now Prahlad Maharaj told Narasimhadev, my dear Lord, may I ask one thing from you? My father was a great atheist and he committed many offenses at your lotus feet. Now you have killed him. I request that he be excused and be given liberation. See the compassionate nature of Prahlad Maharaj. Actually, Hiranyakashipu was already liberated. Yet, his affectionate son Prahlad Maharaj was anxious to know whether he was liberated or not. It is confirmed by the Lord Narasimhadev that not only a Vaishnava's father, it is confirmed by Narasimhadeva that not only a Vaishnava's father, but everyone for 21 generations before a Vaishnava receives liberation. So by serving the Lord, one renders the best service to his family because 21 generations are liberated if one becomes a pure Vaishnava. See, in the nectar of devotion, it is given. After Narasimhadeva wanted to give benedictions to Prahlad Maharaj, see, Prahlad Maharaj did not accept any material benediction. He simply asked the favor of the Lord to remain his eternal devotee. So in this connection, Prahlad Maharaj, he cited the example of Hanumanji, the eternal servitor of Lord Ramachandra. See, Hanumanji also set an example by never asking any material favor from Lord Ramachandra, right? He always remained engaged in the Lord's service. That is the ideal character of Hanumanji, for which he is still worshipped by all devotees. So Prahlad Maharaj also offered his respectful obeisances unto Hanuman. See, there is a well-known verse spoken by Hanuman in which he says, my dear Lord, if you like, you can give me salvation from this material existence or the privilege of merging into your existence. But I do not wish any of these things. I do not want anything that diminishes my relationship with you as servant to master, even after liberation. See, in the Narada Pantaratra, it is stated, my dear Lord, I do not wish any perfectional stage by performing ritualistic religious ceremonies or by economic development or by sense gratification or liberation. I simply pray that you grant me the favor of keeping me under your lotus feet. I do not wish any kind of liberation, such as Saralokya, that is to reside in your planet, or Sarupya, to have some bodily features as you. I simply pray for your favor that I may be always engaged in your loving service. So similarly, in the 6th canto, 14th chapter, verse 5, Srimad Bhagavatam, Maharaj Parishit inquires from Sukadeva Goswami, my dear Brahmana, I understand that the demon Vritrasura was a great sinful person. And that his mentality was completely absorbed in the modes of passion and ignorance. So, Maharaj Parishit is asking Sukadeva Goswami, how did he develop to such a perfection stage of devotional service to Narayana? I heard that even great persons who have undergone severe austerities and who are liberated with full knowledge must strive to become devotees of the Lord. Even you do so many austerities, but you have to become devotee of the Lord. It is understood that such persons are very rare and almost never to be seen. So I am astonished that Vritrasura became such a devotee. So this was the most important thing to be noted is that There may be many liberated persons who are merged into the existence of the impersonal Brahman, but the devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very, very rare. Even out of millions of liberated persons, only one is fortunate enough to become a devotee. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, right, to Arjuna, I am speaking this Bhagavad Gita to you because you are a devotee and my friend. See, in 4:21:47 purport, when Prahlad Maharaj was offered benediction by Narasimhadeva, because of his great devotion and tolerance, he refused to accept any benediction, thinking that such acceptance was not befitting a sincere devotee. So the rendering of service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead in expectation of a good reward is not the right thing. It is just like a mercantile business. Now, because Prahlad Maharaj was a Vaishnava, he did not ask a benediction for his personal self, but was very affectionate towards his father. Although his father tortured him, right, and would have killed him had he himself not been killed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Prahlad Maharaj begged pardon for him from the Lord. So this favor was immediately granted by Lord Narasimhadev, and Hiranyakashipu was delivered from the darkest region of hellish life. And he returned back home, back to God by the grace of his son, Prahlad. So Prahlad Maharaj is the topmost example of a Vaishnava, who is always compassionate, towards sinful persons, suffering hellish life within this material world. Krishna is therefore known as Paradukka Dukhi Kripam Buddhi. Kripam Buddhi, one who is compassionate towards others' suffering and who is an ocean of mercy. So, like Prahlad Maharaj, all pure devotees of the Lord come to this material world with full compassion to deliver the sinful. They undergo all kinds of tribulations, right? Suffering them with tolerance, right? So, because that is another qualification of a Vaishnava, who tries to deliver all sinful persons from the hellish conditions of material existence. Vaishnavas are therefore offered the following, always they are given this wonderful prayer. Vancha kalpataru bhyacha kripa sandhu bhayevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So the chief concern of a Vaishnava is to deliver the fallen souls. That's why in 5:24:25 purport, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has instructed that an unalloyed devotee should consider himself as a servant of the servant of the servant of the Supreme Lord. Gopi bhartu pada kamalayor dasa dasanu dasaha. So in Vaishnava philosophy, one should never, not even become a direct servant. Prahlad Maharaj was offered all the blessings of an opulent position in the middle world, and even the liberation of merging into Brahman, right? But he refused all this. He simply wanted to engage in the service of the servant of the servant of the Lord. See, in the 27th verse, now Prathu Maharaj is telling to Mother Earth, you are very much puffed up with pride and have become almost insane. Presently, you assume the form of a cow by your mystic powers. Nonetheless, I shall cut you into small pieces like grain, and I will uphold the entire population by my personal mystic powers. The purport Prabhupada is telling, the earth informed King Prithu that if he destroyed her, he and his subjects would all fall down into the waters of the Garbha ocean. Now, King Prithu now replies to that point. Although the earth assumed the shape of a cow by her mystic powers in order to be saved from being killed by the king was aware of this fact and would not hesitate to cut her into pieces, just like small bits of grains. As far as the destruction of the citizens is concerned, Maharaj Prithu maintained that he could uphold everyone by his own mystic powers. He did not need the help of the earthly planet. So being the incarnation of Lord Vishnu, Prithu Maharaj possessed the power of Sankarshana, which is explained by the scientists as the power of gravitation. The Supreme Personality Godhead is holding millions of planets in space without any support. No support. Similarly, Prithu Maharaj would not have had any difficulty supporting all his citizens and himself in space without the help of the planet Earth. So the Lord is known as Yogeshwara, master of all mystic powers. Consequently, the planet Earth was informed by the king that she need not worry about his standing without her help. It's very beautifully responding to all our queries, right? See, in the 28th verse, at this time, Prithu Maharaj became exactly like Yamaraj, and his whole body appeared very angry. In other words, he was anger personified. After hearing him, the planet Earth began to tremble. She surrendered and with folded hands began to speak. So now again, Mother Earth is speaking. See, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is death personified to miscreants, and the Supreme Beloved Lord to the devotees. In Bhagavad Gita 10.34, the Lord says, Mrityu sarva haraschaham. I am all devouring death. So faithless unbelievers, no, who challenge the appearance of God will be delivered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead when he appears before them as death. Now, Hiranyakashipu, for example, challenged the authority of Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the Lord met him in the form of Nrsimhadeva and killed him. Similarly, the planet Earth saw Maharaj Prithu as death personified. She also saw him in the mood of anger personified. Therefore, she began to tremble. One cannot challenge the authority of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in any circumstance. It is better to surrender unto him and take his protection at all times. That's why a very beautiful verse in 8 to 33, 8th canto, 2nd chapter 30, a very beautiful verse by Gajendra. Yakashchaneshu balinoantako ragat prachanda vegad abhidhavato brisham bhitam prapannam paripati yadbhayan mrityus pradhavat aranam tamimahi. The translation goes like this. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is certainly not known to everyone, but he is very powerful and influential. Therefore, although the serpent of eternal time, which is fearful in force, endlessly chases everyone, ready to swallow him, if one who fears the serpent seeks shelter of the Lord gives him protection. For even death runs away in fear of the Lord. And therefore surrender unto him, the great and powerful supreme authority, who is the actual shelter of everyone. So Prabhupada says in the purport, one who is intelligent understands that there is a great and supreme authority above everything. And that great authority appears in different incarnations to save the innocent from disturbances. See, that is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, right? Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam. The Lord appears in his various incarnations for two purposes: to annihilate the dushkriti, the sinful, and protect his devotees. So, see, the king of the elephants, Gajendra, decided to surrender unto the Lord. This is intelligence. One must know that the great Supreme Personality of Godhead, right, and then surrender unto him. The Lord comes personally to instruct us how to be happy. Only fools and rascals do not see by intelligence this supreme authority. In the Shruti mantra, it is said, it is out of fear of the Supreme Personality of Godhead that the wind is blowing, the sun is distributing heat and light, and the death is chasing everyone. Thus, there is a supreme controller, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 9.10. Mayadakshena prakritim suyate sacharacharam. So this material manifestation is working so well because of the supreme controller. So any intelligent person, therefore, can understand that there is a supreme controller. See, supreme controller himself appears as Lord Krishna, as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Ramachandra, to give us instructions and to show us by example how to surrender unto Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yet, those who are dushkriti, the lowest of mankind, right? They do not surrender. Namam dushkritino mudaha prapadyante naradamaha. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna clearly says, Mrityu sarva haraschaham. I am all devouring death. So Mrityu or death is a representative who takes everything away from the living entity who has accepted a material body. So no one can say, no, I do not fear death. This is a false proposition. Everyone fears death. But one who seeks shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he can be saved from death. Now one may argue, does a devotee not die? Answer is that a devotee certainly must give up his body, for the body is material. The difference is that for one who surrenders to Krishna fully and who is protected by Krishna, the present body is his last. He will not again receive a material body to be subjected to death. That is the point. So this is assured in Bhagavad Gita 4.9. Tyaktva deyam punarjanma neti mameti. So Arjuna, a devotee, right? After giving up his body, he does not accept a material body, but returns home back to Godhead. So we are always in danger because at any moment death can take place. It is not that only Gajendra, the king of the elephants, was afraid of death. Everyone should fear death because everyone is caught up by the crocodile of eternal time and may die at any moment. The best course, therefore, is to seek the shelter of Krishna and be saved from the struggle of its existence in the middle world, in which one repeatedly takes birth and then dies. So to reach this understanding is the ultimate goal of life. See, Vedas are telling, Uttishta, Jagrata, Prapya, Varam, Nibodhata. Katha Upanishad is telling, Please wake up and try to understand the boon that you now have in this human form of life. The path of spiritual realization is very difficult. It is sharp like a razor's edge. That is the opinion of learned translated scholars. So he's telling, my dear sir, you got this human body. Just wake up. Don't sleep anymore like animals. Prapya vara nibodhata. You have got this fortunate body. Just utilize it. Tamasyama jyotirgama. It's saying, don't remain in darkness. Come to the light. So these things have to be learned. Prabhupada, in one of his lectures, he says, now suppose a boy in this classroom is given some task. Teacher says, you are allowed 2 hours to finish this task. Now, if the boy is intelligent, he can finish it in a few minutes. And if he's not intelligent, he can finish it even in 2 hours. So this allowance is very nice, right? 72,000 of years. Like so many species of life, Divya Yugas. So, but if you get the opportunity to that in 72 days, you can come out of from this material life. So why should not take this opportunity? Why do you wait? Birth, death, evolution. Why should you put yourself into that 72,000 years Prabhupada was telling? If there is a means to get out of this entanglement in 72 days, you're just giving an example. Why should you lose this opportunity? Just like in Bhagavad Gita, it said, Bhaunam Janmanam Ante, Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate, Vasudeva Sarvamiti, Samhatma Sudurlabha. After many, many births and deaths, who's actually in knowledge, surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is, such a great soul is very rare. So every time, see, spiritual masters, acharyas, they're coming and going and coming and telling us, take to Krishna consciousness, go back to God in this lifetime. Otherwise, again, we don't know how many janmas we have to take, how many years. So after many, many births, one who is wise, who's attained wisdom, he surrenders. So Vasudeva Sarvamiti Sarvmatma Sudurlabha, right? So if this is a position, we have to surrender to Supreme Lord after many, many births, right? So why wait? So Bhagavad Gita is simply telling, he's telling Sarvadharmam Patya, just surrender to me and become wise. So why not surrender immediately? Just today, from today. Surrender means follow the instructions of Krishna as given in Bhagavad Gita. Just chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Just by chanting, you are surrendering. So this is the point. So this is intelligence. See, according to the anthropologists, there is a nature's law of struggle for existence and survival of the fittest. In 1:15:24, Prabhupada says, but they do not know that behind the law of nature is the supreme direction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is confirmed that the law of nature is executed under the direction of the Lord. He says, whenever, therefore, there is peace in the world, it must be known that it is due to the goodwill of the Lord. And whenever there is upheaval in the world, it is also due to the supreme will of the Lord. Not a blade of grass moves without the will of the Lord. So whenever, therefore, there is disobedience of the rules enacted by Krishna, there is war between man and nations. The surest way to the path of peace is dovetailing everything to the established rule of the Lord. And the established rule is that whatever we do, whatever we eat, whatever we sacrifice, or whatever we give in charity must be done to the full satisfaction of Krishna. No one should do anything, right? No one should do anything, eat anything, sacrifice anything, or give anything in charity against the will of the Lord. So discretion is the better part of valor, it is said, no? And one must learn how to discriminate between actions which may be pleasing the Lord and those which may not be pleasing the Lord. An action is thus judged by the Lord's pleasure or displeasure. So there is no room for personal whims, right? We must always be guided by the pleasure of the Lord. And such action is called Yoga Karmasu Kaushalam, or actions performed which are linked with the Supreme Lord. That is the art of doing a thing perfectly. So from 29 to 36 verse, now the planet Earth, he starts speaking. So wonderful verses, 29. We decided this was and this purport we read in the beginning. So the 30th verse, he says, my dear Lord, you are the complete conductor of the creation, material creation. You have created this cosmic manifestation in 3 material qualities. Therefore, you have created me, the planet Earth, the resting place of all living entities. Yet, you are always fully independent. My Lord, now that you are present before me and ready to kill me with your weapons, let me know where I should go to take shelter and tell me who can give me protection. That's why Prabhupada says the planet Earth herein exhibits the symptoms of full surrender before the Lord. You know, it's surrendering, right? So no one can protect the person whom Krishna is prepared to kill. And no one can kill the person whom Krishna protects. It is Mare Krishna Rakhe, Rakhe Krishna Mare Ke. If Lord Krishna protects a person, who can kill him? And if Krishna desires to kill someone, who can protect him? So the Lord was prepared to kill the planet Earth, right? So there was no one to give protection to her. So we are all receiving protection from Krishna, from the Lord. And it is therefore proper that every one of us surrender to him. 18.6 Bhagavad Gita, Lord instructs, Sarva Dharmam Parityajya, Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja, Aham Tvam Sarvapapebhyo Mokshayashami Ma Shuchaya. Abandon all varieties of religion and surrender to me. Just surrender to me. I shall deliver you from all sinful actions. Do not fear. Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur sings, My dear Lord, whatever I have, even my mind, the center of all material necessities, namely my home, my body, and whatever I have in connection with this body, I now surrender to you. You are now completely independent to act however you like. If you like, you can kill me. And if you like, you can save me. In any case, I am your eternal servant. And you have every right to do whatever you like. The 31st verse says, in the beginning of creation, you created all these moving and non-moving living entities by your inconceivable energy. Through this very same energy, you are now prepared to protect the living entities. Indeed, you are the supreme protector of religious principles. Why are you so anxious to kill me, even though I am in the form of a cow? The planet Earth argues that there is no doubt that one who creates can also annihilate by his sweet will. The planet Earth questions why she should be killed when the Lord is prepared to give protection to everyone. After all, it is the earth that is the resting place for all the living entities. And it's the earth that produces grains for them. It's just like in a courtroom, the arguments are going up and down. So 33rd, he says, now Mother Earth is telling, My dear Lord, although you are one, by your inconceivable potencies, you have expanded yourself in many forms. Through the agency of Brahma, you have created this universe. You are therefore directly the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Those who are not sufficiently experienced cannot understand your transcendental activities because these persons are covered by your illusory energy. Very self-explanatory, beautifully given by Prabhupada. God is one, but he expands himself in a variety of energies. Material energy, spiritual energy, marginal energy, and so forth. Unless one is favored, and especially endowed with grace, he cannot understand how the one Supreme Personality of Godhead acts through his different energies. The living entities are also the marginal energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Brahma is also one of these living entities, but he is especially empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although Brahma is supposed to be the creator of this universe, actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead is its ultimate creator. In this verse, the word Maya is significant. Maya means energy. Lord Brahma is not the energetic, but is one of the manifestations of the Lord's marginal energy. In other words, Lord Brahma is only an instrument. Although sometimes plans appear contradictory, there is a definite plan behind all actions. One who is experienced and is favored by the Lord can understand that everything is being done according to the Lord's supreme plan. The 33rd verse says, My dear Lord, by your own potencies, he is glorifying Prabhu, right? You are the original cause of the material elements, the performing instruments, the senses, the workers of the senses, the controlling demigods, intelligence and the ego, as well as everything else. By your energy, you manifest this entire cosmic manifestation, maintain it and dissolve it. Through your energy alone, everything is sometimes manifest, sometimes not manifest. You are therefore the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the cause of all causes. Sarva Karana Karana. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. In the purport, he says, all activities begin with the creation of the total energy, the Mahat Tattva. Then by the agitation of three gunas, the physical elements are created, as well as the mind, ego, and controls of senses. See, speaking about the creation, right? We have seen in the third canto. So all of these are created one after another by the inconceivable energy of the Lord. See, in modern electronics, a mechanic may, by pushing only one button, he will set off an electronic chain reaction. by which so many actions are carried out one after another. Similarly, the Supreme Personality of Godhead pushes the button of creation, and different energies create the metal elements and various controllers of the physical elements. And their subsequent interactions follow the inconceivable plan of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The 34th verse says, "My dear Lord, you are always unborn. Once in the form of the original boar, you rescued me from the waters in the bottom of the universe. Through your own energy, you created all the physical elements, senses, and the heart for the maintenance of the world." So this is the speaking about the Varaha avatar, no? Because Earth was hidden in the bottom of the ocean. So this refers to the time when Lord Krishna appeared as the supreme boar, Varaha, and rescued the earth, which had been merged in water. The Asura was Hiranyaksha. He had dislocated the earth from its orbit, right, and thrown it beneath the waters of the Garbhodaka ocean. Then the Lord, in the shape of the original boar, rescued the earth. Now, earth is telling, "My dear Lord, in this way, you once protected me by rescuing me from the water. And consequently, your name has been famous as Dharadhara. Dharadhara, right? He holds the planet Earth. He's known as Dharadhara. Yet at the present moment, in the form of a great hero, he's telling you are a great hero. You are about to kill me with sharpened arrows. I am, however, just like a boat on the water, keeping everything afloat." See, the Lord is known as Dharadhara, meaning he who keeps the planet Earth on his tusks as the boar incarnation. So as the planet Earth in the shape of a cow is accounting the contradictory acts of the Lord. There you protected. Now what are you? You're going to kill me. Although he once saved the earth, he now wants to upset the earth, which is like a boat on water. So no one can understand the activities of the Lord. So due to poor fund of knowledge, human beings sometimes think the Lord's activities are contradictory. No, it's never contradictory. In the last verse, 40, he says, "My dear Lord, I am also creation of one of your energies, composed of three modes of mental nature." He's telling her, "Mother, I am also your creation. So I am bewildered by your activities. If the activities of your devotees cannot be understood, and what to speak of your pastimes. Thus, everything appears to us to be contradictory and wonderful." It's a very nice purport. I'll just read it out. The activities of Supreme Personality of Godhead in his various forms and incarnations are always uncommon and wonderful. It is not possible for any tiny human being to estimate the purpose and plans of such activities. Therefore, Srila Jiva Goswami has said that unless the Lord's activities are accepted as inconceivable, they cannot be explained. The Lord is eternally existing as Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in Goloka Vrindavan. He has also simultaneously expanded himself in innumerable forms, beginning with Lord Ram, Lord Narasimha, Lord Varaha, and all the incarnations, coming directly from Sankarsana. Now, Sankarsana is the expansion of Baladeva, and Baladeva is the first manifestation of Krishna. Therefore, all these incarnations are known as Kala. So the word Ishwaranam refers to all the personalities of Godhead. So I stated in Brahma Samhita 5.39, Ramadimurtishu Kalani Amena Tishtan. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, it is confirmed. All the incarnations are partial expansions or Kala of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. However, Krishna is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. One should not take this plural number of the word Ishwaranam to mean that there are many Godheads. Fact is that God is one, but he exists eternally and expands himself in innumerable forms and acts in various ways. Sometimes the common man is bewildered by all this and considers such activities contradictory, but they are not contradictory. There is a great plan behind all the Lord's activities. For our understanding, it is sometimes said that the Lord is seated in the heart of the thief as well as in the heart of the householder. And that the super soul in the heart of the thief, it dictates, go and steal things from that particular house. At the same time, the Lord tells the householder, now be careful of thieves and burglars. So these instructions to different persons appear contradictory. Yet we should know that the super soul, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, has some plan. And we should not consider such activities contradictory. The best course is to surrender to Supreme Personality of Godhead wholeheartedly and being protected by him, remain peaceful. Thus end the Bhakti purpose of 4th Canto, 17th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam entitled, Maharaj Prithu becomes angry at the earth. See, such a wonderful lessons we could learn, right? So the Lord says that Sarvadharam Parityaja. We must just give up all kinds of occupational duty or religiosity. See, we have created all kinds of religious formula. So Krishna says, you give up all kinds of religious formula. But what is to be done? Sarva dharmam parityaja mam ekam sham. Just surrender unto me. That means surrendering unto Supreme Personality is the real religion of the living entity. Not that I like a particular type of faith. That is my religion. Religion means when one is trained how to surrender unto Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is called religion. And Srimad Bhagavatam also gives the enunciation of the word dharma. Savai pumsam paro dharma. That is the system of religion. Savai pumsam paro dharma yato bhakti adokshya. 126 Bhagavatam says, by which one is trained to surrender to Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is best religion. See, in 9947 purport, when passing through mountainous region in an airplane, one may sometimes see a city in the sky with towers and palaces, or one may see similar things in a big forest. This is called Gandharvapura or phantasmagoria. Prabhupada uses this word, phantasmagoria. This entire world is such a phantasmagoria. And every materially situated person has attachment for it. See, such beautiful thing all around, right? But Katwanga Maharaj, because of his advanced Krishna consciousness, was not interested in such things. Even though a devotee may engage in apparently materialistic activities, he knows his position very well. Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe Yuktam Vairagyam Uchyate. If one engages all material things in relation with the loving service of the Lord, one is situated in Yukta Vairagya, proper renunciation. So in this material world, nothing should be accepted for one's sense gratification. Very important point. Everything should be accepted for the service of the Lord. This is the mentality of the spiritual world. But we have forgotten that mentality. Maharaj Katwanga advises that one give up the material attachments and surrender to Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus one achieves success in life. So this is pure Bhakti Yoga, which involves Vairagya Vidya, renunciation and knowledge. So let me surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has appeared now as Lord Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is ocean of mercy, all mercy, and has come down to teach us the material detachment, learning, and devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inaugurated this movement of Vairagya Vidya, by which one detaches himself from the material existence and engages in loving devotional service. The Krishna conscious movement of devotional service is the only process by which to counteract our false prestige in this material world. See, in the purport of 18.63, there is a very, Krishna is telling to Arjuna, right? Yatechasi tatha kuru. As you like, you may act. Indicates that God does not interfere with little independence of the living entity. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord has explained in all respects how one can elevate his living condition. The best advice imparted to Arjuna is surrender to the super soul seated within the heart. By right discrimination, one should agree to act according to the order of the super soul. That will help one become situated constantly in Krishna consciousness, highest perfectional stage of human life. See, Arjuna is being directly ordered by Krishna to fight. Now, surrender to Supreme Personality of Godhead is in the best interest of the living entities. It is not for the interest of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. See, before surrendering, one is free to deliberate on the subject as far as the intelligence goes. That is the best way to accept the instruction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. So such instruction comes also through the spiritual master, bona fide representative of Krishna. So in the nectar of devotion 39, with regard to surrender, in the process of surrender, there are 6 items. 1, to accept everything favorable for devotional service. Accept everything favorable for devotion. 2, to reject everything unfavorable for devotional service. 3, to believe that Krishna will always give protection. 4, to identify oneself with Krishna's devotees. 5, always to feel inability without the help of Krishna. And lastly, always to think oneself inferior to Krishna, even though one may have full capacity to perform something on his own. So when one is substantially convinced that he is always protected by Krishna in all circumstances, that feeling is called reverential devotion. So reverential devotion is executed in relation with the Supreme Personality of Godhead and with his other protected devotees. So through this wonderful lesson between the discussion between Mother Earth and King Maharaj Prithu, and how she ultimately surrenders and glorifies the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which you could learn a lot of good lessons from this. So I stop here. Thank you very much, Prabhu Mataji's Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jashir Pupar ki Ananta Kodi Vaishnava. Vancha Kalpataru Beshkripa Sindhu Bhairevacha Patitanam Pavane Vaishnava. So thank you very much, Mataji, for this opportunity to glorify the Lord and purify ourselves. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Hare